So this might seem like a really simple video, really foundational video, like where do I put my attention? But it really is an important thing to talk about, I think, because really where we direct our attention generally and at large depicts our relationship with suffering, right? So if we're focusing on the wrong thing, it can really throw us for a loop, and we train the mind to engage in a certain way of orienting to experience, then like a well-trained dog, for lack of a better analogy, that's what our mind will incline toward, right? So if we're inclining towards something that's unskillful with our attention, we're going to suffer. Like, just like if we're focusing on having like heroin or drugs to alleviate our pain and we're finding relief from that, which makes sense, right? Like having drugs or like some sort of distraction or some sort of stimulant, no matter how big, how small, can alleviate suffering, but is it really alleviating suffering at the deep level? So let's get into the specifics on, with my experience, I remember feeling a lot of somatic pain, and a lot of the pointing I received early on when dealing with somatic pain. So tension in the jaw, tension in the neck, tension in the heart, tension in the gut, all sorts of ungrounded, anxious sensation. The pointing I think I received and I internalized early on is, don't worry about that, just rest as awareness. So I would try to sort of like feel this pain, but I didn't really want to feel it, and then I would rest as awareness, and there was this sort of desperation tone to that. Like, oh no, there's pain, I've got to transcend this. Rest as awareness. Who am I? Rest as awareness. Right? And then my pain body, it just didn't give up. Like that didn't help. There was a lot of emotional pain going on. So what would happen is it would be like I would rest as awareness, but then I would be pulled back in with resistance, and it's like, and I'm like, oh no, who am I? Oh, a bit more spaciousness. I can stay here for a little bit. But there was this underlying restlessness that really would fundamentally say there's something wrong here and I don't know what to do about it. And what really ended up happening for me was I had to learn through direct experience how to navigate through that uncertainty to find my own truth and what really worked for me to feel much more centered, grounded, happy, and also satisfied with the deepening of insight that was being cultivated. So what do we do with our attention? What do we do with our attention when our pain body is flaring up with painful emotions? Well, the first thing is, I think it's valuable, right? So I may have alluded to the fact that before, that it's sort of bad to rest as awareness. I don't think that is the case. Resting as awareness, having our attention being able to find the groove of awareness is actually really a valuable practice, because our capacity for space, for awareness, for attuning to that ineffable, unnameable place in experience is directly correlated with how much chaos we can endure, how much feminine energy, so chaos being feminine energy essentially, not in the female essence, but the feminine in the sense of content, what's in front of us, our six senses, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touch, that's feminine energy, right? And that includes the pain body. But the masculine aspect is the spaciousness to experience, the ineffable, the container, the thing that holds it all, right? So these are just terms. Don't worry, don't get too hung up on them if you're doubting concepts or anything like that. So if we can attune our attention to that spaciousness as a basis, we might notice that if we have pain body activation, that like I said, we're going to be pulled back into that, and we might be feeling like, oh no, like why do I keep getting pulled into my pain body? Why is there so much pain? Why does this keep happening to me? So really what's required here is a subtle attunement of attention, subtle attunement that will reduce our suffering. So we might access that spaciousness. I think that's important as the basis of this work, to keep inquiring into identity, to keep feeling into that ineffable place. But then also, if our attention wants to gently go into sensation, let's just allow it to do that. Let's just feel the sensation in the body, right? So it's like we're attuning to spaciousness, the body wants to contract back down, and then we just allow it. We roll with the punches. We feel the sensation. Maybe there's a tightness in the neck, or angst about how we're not making enough progress that we would have hoped for when practicing, or like some sort of doubt or something. So we open up to the spaciousness. We're putting our attention there. We're just relaxing. We're doing nothing with our mind, letting it relax into spacious openness. And then, okay, it contracts as a doubt. Oh, I'm not practicing right. Oh, there's this pain in my neck again. Why is it here? Oh, I'm so anxious. Why is this here again? Oh man, there's that depression again. Oh no, please don't. And so we feel the sensation fully. And just have this attitude. We're bringing this attitude of loving acceptance to it. Like, you can be here, right? All these little subtle things, these little layers of resistance, like, oh no, there it is again. And then we just feel that. And then we open back up to the spaciousness. So we're rolling with the punches. If we're just resting as awareness, we're trying to stay in that space, and we're neglecting the pain body, it brings with it this sort of desperation tone. Like something for me, like when I was doing that, felt very fundamentally off. It felt like I was tasting something, that ineffable space. I was tasting my true nature, but yet there was still an unaddressed, underlying, unintegrated aspect. So the feminine aspect wasn't being recognized. The pain body wasn't being recognized. But when you allow yourself to dance between the two, baby. Dance between the two. It softens that friction, that like, I gotta stay as awareness so I can wake up, so I can transcend, so I can get beyond all of this once and for all. You're not gonna get beyond this once and for all, right? So the pain body isn't gonna go away with awakening. Okay, so now one other important thing that's really critical that I had to learn is that, right, so we can be with the pain body, we can be with spaciousness, but that doesn't change the fact that the pain body still arises. And what I had to learn is the following. What we give our attention to, what we keep feeding with our attention, is going to magnify that experience. So if our mind is constantly looking for the tendency of the shadow is to do this, right? It's very interesting. When we contract, there's a certain safety in contraction. So, let's say, for example, a lot of the people I've spoken to have, and this is been my experience too, have dealt with something like social anxiety, right? I had it pretty badly when I started out on this path. So much better now. It's unbelievably better, because I've had to learn to center myself, to align with what's true for me. Yeah, there's still pain body activations in social settings, but that's okay. So anyway, this is an example. Maybe it's not social anxiety. Maybe you deal with something else like doubt, really bad doubt that keeps coming up, or some other sort of pain body activation. But let's use the example. You're in a social setting and you feel that pain body activation. Now, what we could do is, so we could feel for that spaciousness, which might be a bit more difficult, right, in these higher pressure situations, but it's always available to you, right? It doesn't need to be this huge struggle that our mind can make it out to be. Like, I can never rest as awareness. But if we open up to the spaciousness, and then we're feeling, there's the social anxiety, right? There it is again. It's like, we can track down. we just allow ourselves, no matter, even if we're really contracting down like intensely, just allow yourself to do that, right? But there's something I began to notice that can be done with this, right? So we can focus really intensely on the unpleasant sensation. And like I said, that will magnify the experience with time. So it's almost as if we're setting up our mind, we're training our mind to orient to the painful places in our experience. So the next time we go into a social setting, what we're doing is we're bracing for impact. We're like waiting for the social angst to kick into gear. So it's like we're walking primed into that situation with our intention being the key word. Our intention is like, oh no, okay, social setting, okay, be ready to use all my mindful practices, all of my attunements, all of my things, all of my tactics, to make sure that I'm orienting to painful sensations, so I'm not becoming, I'm not disembodied, or I'm not, whatever our mind does, right? But anyway, the bottom line is, whatever your mind does, it might be orienting toward the painful contraction in experience. And what that will do is if we keep focusing on that, and we can do this unconsciously, so that's why I'm bringing it up. If we keep focusing on that, that will be our orientation, right? I noticed I used to do this, like I would go to like online retreats or something, or like in social settings, and or just into gatherings, and I would be in this process of embodiment. I would be feeling the body more, which was good, right? Feeling the body's good. Allowing for unpleasant sensations to arise is good. It's all excellent that that's happening. But if we're looking for that experience, then that's what we'll keep noticing, and that will form our alignment with reality, basically, right? So rather than doing that, what we can do is keep attuning to that spaciousness, notice the unpleasant sensation, dance between the masculine and the feminine, right? But also have this gentle intention to see the good in the experience. So we might ask questions like, what can I notice that is pleasant about this experience? Where can I find love in this experience? Can I let go of needing to brace myself, right? Can I trust the universe to open my heart just that little bit more, to be open and receptive to other people in the case of like a social situation? Can I actually allow that to be effortless? What if it was effortless? What if there didn't need to be a struggle? I know I've got this huge backlog of spiritual practice, and I've maybe even done shadow work. I've maybe even done all sorts of meditative investigations. But can I just open up to that possibility that there is an easeful way of being? And what would that feel like in my body? Can I posture myself a little bit different to not be like contracted and bracing for impact? Can I open myself up a little bit more? Can I entertain the hypothesis that I can effortlessly be in that experience right now? Right? So you see how we're shifting from bracing for impact. When we've got all of this muscle memory, all of these spiritual practices and techniques that we've built up for many years, to align to almost like unconsciously reinforcing these behaviors. Even though we're trying our earnest, so we're really trying to not do that. We're actually trying to suffer less. But what I learned is that with this orientation, when we shift our intention to look for the good, right? It seems like such a simple thing. But then we can have all these non-dual practices and doubts that come online, like, if I'm efforting, or if I'm exerting will, or if I have intention to do something like that, I am, not seeing the fundamental truth of reality. I don't agree with that anymore. I used to believe that, but having that gentle intention, so accessing the spaciousness, allowing the mind to dance between if it needs to go with the unpleasant sensation, but also intending penetrating through those unpleasant sensations with that gentle intention to open up to something more beautiful, right? Something more loving, something more spacious, something more free, something more unbound by limitation, right? And then what I notice is when we do that, we might feel resistance. We might feel like, no, I can't, like in the example, I can't open up my heart. There's no way I could open up my heart, right? So our body contracts back in. It's like, no, I don't trust that. I don't trust God. I don't trust the divine. I don't trust to rest as awareness and really let go of this conditioning, this social angst, this program, this sadness, this depression, this anxiousness that's been here for so long. I need it, right? That's what our body does. It contracts back into what's familiar. But then we ride that wave. We're like, okay, let me be with that. And then, okay, let me penetrate back out. And can I feel what I'm striving for? Can I really just give myself permission? And what if it was effortless? What if it didn't need to be a struggle? And just entertain that, feel it in your body, and just keep gently leaning back out. And give your attention, allow yourself to give your attention to inhabit that good feeling, to feel good with that, right? You don't need to keep fixating on the uncomfortable stuff, because again, that will keep magnifying that in our experience. I spent a lot of time in the shadow, a lot of time in the shadow, and I noticed that has limitations. I think it's still valuable to address our shadow, our deep somatic programs that are running in our body, keeping us in smallness, keeping us in stuckness. But we're also just entertaining that hypothesis that it's easy to inhabit this state of being. But fundamentally, if we're putting our attention in the positive, we're opening up to spaciousness, our true nature, and leaning in that direction, we're penetrating the world, letting go of our patterns. That will help our nervous system retrain to a much more pleasant state of being and more liberated state of being. And my experience has been that it's very empowering and very exciting to do that, because we're truly letting go of these deeply held patterns when you start noticing this working. And if you want to go into this more deeply, I made a video, a guided meditation on the fact that we're addicted to suffering, which you can watch up here. If you need more support with this sort of stuff, top link in the description. We'll have a clarity call and we can deepen in these practices together, help you feel more regulated, integrated, go from contracted to expanded while deepening in insight. That's what I help people with, non-dual seekers, right? So yeah, top link in the description, but otherwise I'm gonna go enjoy Istanbul. This is out my apartment window. I've been here for a couple days. I'm in a bit of a beaten up part of town, but it's still really cool, beautiful, a lot of history. Anyway, I'll stop talking. Much love.